out of any set, maybe in Tarnished Deathmatch history, because half of it happened like a month ago. And it has finally completed, and we get to watch it. I've been putting off casting the first half of it because I wanted the whole set, right? But big OLADUSHEK fan. Nova, always fun as well. I don't know Nova as well. I've been an OLADUSHEK fan since All Visible Cup 2? 1? I can't remember. But he had a really good showing in one of those All Visible Cups. And ever since then, I've always been a good fan of OLADUSHEK. He always outperforms his elo in tournaments. I even before ever watching DM or them ever joining this tournament, I always mentioned OLADUSHEK and Yomi as two players that can really outperform their elo in tournaments, especially. So always fun. All right. Let's start off this draft. I don't want to be here forever. I do need to eat eventually before bed. Sunburn and Hyper Random, good starts. Now, worth noting, OLADUSHEK was very raw last Tarnished Deathmatch season. Did okay just because of how strong of a player he is generally, but the starts were very rough for OLADUSHEK in the previous season. He did play in Carry Me or Die since then, and obviously has had a lot of time if he wanted to practice his openings, his build orders, whatnot. So I'm curious to see what he looks like this season. Have I seen one OLADUSHEK set? It's been so long, I can't remember now. I almost feel like I did see one early on in this season, but I have no memory of what he looked like whatsoever. Great map draft. Hyper Random, Sunburn, Akare, and Aftermath. Immersion ban, so we can either get Shoals, and we do get Shoals. Beautiful map draft. I loved it. Love these maps, actually. Really good. Almost perfect, to be honest. I might slightly prefer a Fez to Akare, but Akare's grown on me a bit as this season has gone on. Early on, it was a little too, big rush and then the game's over in 5 minutes, but we've gotten some pretty good games on Akare since then. Alright, let's go with the Civilizations. Ooh, some heavy hitters to start out these admin bans. Still no unplayable civs, to be honest. Oh, huge bans, actually. Add a BTTV mode. I think this is the first time anyone has ever actually done this, Maltar. What do we got here? Oh, we need a cat jam. We need a cat jam. Okay. We can cat jam. Of course, yeah, that's true. We need to jam out to the music a little bit more strongly. Alright, Cat Jam has been added to the repertoire. Nova with the classic I don't like the DLC bans here, I should say. Does Nova know enough to not ban the shoe? Because the shoe are so terrible. These admin bans are crazy though, man. Look at this. by far the most impactful admin bans I have ever seen. Like, the Portuguese and the Vikings are the only two civs that we don't really see much of at all. But we see Portuguese sometimes even too. Really strong civs here. So, a bit of a weaker player bans. Though, I will say, OLADUSHEK did choose the way multiple times last season to, I think, bad results. But maybe OLADUSHEK actually does like the way. So this could be a better ban than it sometimes is. Double Spanish? Chinese weren't banned here, right? No. Okay, so no Chinese. Instead, double Spanish Malians and Bohemians. What's even left down here? Is there any good civs left? The Koreans are still there? I don't know. After that, it's actually going to be a very strange civilization draft here. OLADUSHEK has to go for the Byzantines as his 4th civ pick. Just, like, Dravidians should be picked in here. Chinese probably should be picked too, just because, like, what else are you going to be drafting, to be honest? Yeah, Catans and Wei are really bad. Very, very bad. In Deathmatch, specifically, they're very bad. Catans are really good in RM, open maps. Wei are very good in sudden death. And at the top, like, pro level arena, Wei are somewhat viable in RM as well, but in DM they seem terrible. The Wei specifically counter the Portuguese really, really well, but unfortunately the Portuguese also are not super good, so very strange civ draft here. The Koreans, the Dravidians, and the Vietnamese get chosen after the Italians, the Byzantines, and the Hindustanis. Oh, and the Romans! Final pick Romans is crazy, actually. This should be double Spanish snipe, I believe. I don't see anything else super worth sniping on either side. Maybe like the Teutons or the Bohemians if you're nervous about siege wars, but I can't imagine. Okay, he is. So Spanish sniped for Nova. OLADUSHEK takes out the Bohemians. Oh, I think Nova had the much better draft. Well, getting the Koreans and the Romans as the final 2 picks makes me think OLADUSHEK doesn't know how to play them, but they are unironically probably the 2 best civs in this entire draft, besides the Spanish on Shoals. So maybe it's not that bad. I'm a little nervous that OLADUSHEK is... I don't know. OLADUSHEK had some out-of-the-box strategies last season, so I'm a little nervous. Nova biggest Celts main? Oh, that's why we're glad OLADUSHEK banned the Celts. Okay. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with Nova by any means. So maybe, if Nova really likes the Celts, this is a weird civ draft for them, right? Because, like, Teutons is the only, well, and kind of Dravidians are the only 2 that are going to be going SO. Nova Huang show match? There we go. Yeah, there were some very... Well, yeah, it was a strange draft, but... look at these admin bans, and it starts to become a little bit more forgivable what the draft looks like. probably the most impactful admin bans I have seen so far. Almost every single civ is a banger, or at the very least usable. Like, Vikings are the only civ in the admin bans that are never seen. Goths and Portuguese, not so much, but... And yeah, they also... this was a long time ago that they drafted. This draft happened a long time ago. So we'll have to keep in mind how many games did they play the first go around? Was it 2? I want to say it was only 2, right? And then they did the last 3 yesterday, I guess. So we'll have to see if there's a difference between... True, what if it actually might turn out good for OLADUSHEK if he did this draft before realizing how good the Koreans could be, plays a few games without picking the Koreans, then comes back after the fact and is like, man, the end of my draft is a banger now. Could end up being alright. Okay, so we're going to start on Shoals. It's going to be Spanish for Nova. And it should probably be Byzantines for OLADUSHEK, I guess. Right? Maybe Malians? But I think probably Byzantines. OLADUSHEK might get RM baited and pick the Koreans because they're such a good water civ in RM. But I think he should know better than that. So I'll say Spanish Byzantines. Let's see what we got going on here. And we'll get into game 1. I do just need to switch around Capture Age into Division 4. And let's go. Welcome in game 1, OLADUSHEK versus Nova here in Tarnished Deathmatch 6. We're starting out the series from the past in Shoals. This game happened a month ago. Probably quite a few people know what happened in it, but I don't. I purposefully avoided figuring out what happened in the first half of this set because I knew eventually I'd want to see it all. We have the Spanish for Nova. It is the Byzantines for OLADUSHEK, so I'm at least batting 100 for this series. So OLADUSHEK loses a villager to the Hussar, but just one. And we start our water contest station. Both players opening galleons, which is not often seen on Shoals. Usually you want to open demos, switch into your siege unit, especially with the Spanish. You want to get those cannon galleons out as soon as possible, but both players picking maybe the worst ship that either civ has access to in the galleons. All right. Fair enough. OLADUSHEK trying to take... I don't know if I love the positioning in these castles. They're so close to the water, especially with what I would consider the worst water civ. Seems optimistic, but OLADUSHEK is a boater. He's a boat beast. I don't know how confident Nova is on water maps. So maybe there's a chance here for the Byzantines still. We did also see the very first game, not the first game, the very first set of this tournament. It was Breslin versus Easy? Is that who she was against first? And the Byzantines beat the Chinese on this map, so, you know, you never know. You do never know. OLADUSHEK hitting the quick walls on these villagers on the side for the castles is nice. It is Spanish. I don't love the amount of boats I'm seeing here from Nova. I'm a little concerned at a lack of boating happening on the Spanish side of things. OLADUSHEK, that's right. OLADUSHEK gets the relics faster than anyone else in the game, man. He is a quick draw on these relics. He's denied the relic. He's denied this one. There are a lot of relics on this map. And you know what? These Byzantine fast fire ships are roasting the Halberdier in the middle. Halberdier is also getting some good licks back with their bonus damage, though, but it's a lot of fire. And OLADUSHEK does complete the castles on both sides, so map control early on in OLADUSHEK's favor. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen someone go for that relic, I think. OLADUSHEK is just built different, man. He's built different. And you know what? He's destroying the Spanish on water with the Byzantine fast fire ships. He's even killing conquistadors with the Byzantine fast fire ships. He is a boater at heart. He's keeping demos in reserve. He's burning down the docks. There are castles here, which makes this a little more awkward for the fire ships to be able to do, but not too bad. Cataphracts and camels. Actually, it's a bit of an AI army here for OLADUSHEK. He's got paladins, cataphracts, camels, and of course the monks. He already got one relic, and it's the middle one. he did get that middle relic. Drawmans coming out for the Byzantines. They do attack faster than your average Drawman, so they should not be too bad taking out these docks. Not sure about sending the bombard cannons out onto the water. I guess they do snipe a few ships, though. Cataphracts. They do okay against Halbs, but not quite that okay. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from OLADUSHEK so far. Nova is doing interesting things on the right-hand side. That's an interesting monastery. Not quite where I usually like my monasteries to be built, but you know what? Maybe OLADUSHEK will simply never find it. I would like to see more of these Dramans being used, but OLADUSHEK is trying to micro on the left-hand side and siege on the right-hand side at the same time, so it's hard to look everywhere at once. The Cataphracts, area of attack damage, mowing through the Halbs, eventually. And it's looking pretty good for OLADUSHEK. Is Nova's demo hotkey broken? Did Nova make a single demo? Was it all galleons? I think Nova only made galleons. Our demos are on the second page, right? Maybe Nova forgot there was a second page to the dock. Or are they on the first page? Now I'm not sure. It's galleons, fishing ships, trade cogs, and what's the fourth unit that's on the front page of the dock? It's not fires, it's not siege ships. Maybe it is demos, now that I'm saying that. I went from casting a Michi Pro to a Forest Nothing Pro. Okay, I guess GG. I guess GG. The Byzantines destroy the Spanish on shoals. I think Byzantines are 2 for 2. Oh, transport ship, of course. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Nath. I think Byzantines are 2 for 2 on shoals as far as I've seen so far. They've beaten the Spanish and the Chinese. Maybe they're a dark horse civilization here. All you need is your opponent to not make demos. And you're golden. Alright, well, that was rough for Nova, but if Nova is a a Forest Nothing Pro, probably makes sense that Navy is not necessarily at the top of the skills list. But also Michi? Okay. Michi also is not much of a boating map, so I understand it a bit. Well played by OLADUSHEK, to be honest. I want to bring this back real quick. It was a short game. I want to look at OLADUSHEK's opening. Because OLADUSHEK's opening was really rough last season, but he has had C-mod since then. And I was curious what he looks like. It's pretty good, right? That's not bad. I think that's a lot better than he looked last season. It's like still not, he's not like pre-placing as many foundations as like a pro DMer does. But like, it's not too bad. I mean, he goes for the early monastery. He goes for a really early monastery, I suppose. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it for OLADUSHEK. These two could meet on RM letter. That's true. What is OLADUSHEK's elo these days? Is it 2K? Back in the day, he was like 1900, 1800, 1900, but like was playing well above that every time I saw him, so I expected him to rise up a bit. He's made 2K1 or 2 lately, yeah. That honestly makes more sense for how I feel like he plays. When I first saw him, I was like, this feels like a 2K1 or 2K2 player at least. Byzantines beat the #1 overall pick Spanish. Not a great start to the series for Nova, but still plenty of maps to go, and still, well, I think still, I'm not as confident saying a Civ advantage anymore, but assuming OLADUSHEK doesn't know how good these civs are, maybe it's still fine. Let's see what our next map's going to be. It's going to be Aftermath. Okay, so... I'm going to say Dravidians versus Hindustanis. This is going to be the time OLADUSHEK gets baited into the Hindustanis. For sure. He's absolutely going to get hard baited into the Hindustanis here. I don't think there's any two ways about it. Aliens, Vietnamese. Ooh, interesting. If OLADUSHEK knows the meta, I think he should save Malians for Sunburn. I have no idea what Civ Nova is going to go for on Sunburn, actually. But I could see maybe a Malians here as well. Nova played RM Ladder 2 years ago? Me too. Me too. We're brothers. Only a crackhead would pick Italians on Sunburn? Yeah, imagine picking Italians on Sunburn. What a strange choice that would be. I couldn't even imagine a world where that could happen. All right, let's get into Aftermath, see what we're working with here. 100% it's going to be Hindustanis. Let's find out. And yeah, I know OLADUSHEK, man. I know OLADUSHEK. If I know anyone, I know OLADUSHEK. Hindustanis for OLADUSHEK up against the Britons from Nova here in a Game 2 match on Aftermath. Britons was never going to be my guess on Aftermath. I think arguably maybe the worst Civ on Aftermath, except for the Italians, that Nova had available. But let's see. Against the Hindustanis, is this a Ghulam game? If there is ever going to be a Ghulam game in Deathmatch, surely it would be this one, right? Surely this is a game where the Gulam can actually be good. I've said that a lot of times. I've said so many times throughout my young deathmatch casting career that surely this could be a position that Gulams could be okay in, and the Gulams get obliterated every single time. But surely this one could be okay. Gulams do well against everything the Britons can make, right? Basically, I guess, unless they go like champion, I guess maybe. But like everything else, Gulams are good against. Let's see. OLADUSHEK has already taken control over the trade workshops. Where's the monastery? Where's that monastery, OLADUSHEK? Give it to me. Come on, we want to see a monastery. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we have not yet seen one yet. Alright. We're just playing it out for camels. Camels also not really a great unit to go for here. But as the Hindustanis, what else are you going to make until the Gulams can come out, I suppose? First castle is already up, second castle almost up, and we've got 2 more castles on the way, so I think OLADUSHEK has correctly identified, well, hopefully correctly identified, correctly remains to be seen, that Gulam should do okay here. We had this matchup like 50 times, and Hindu won 0 times. Well, well, maybe. Well, we'll have to see. OLADUSHEK has full map control. Nova's just camping out and building up longbows and arbalests. Very Stray King-like game plan here. I think that's a compliment to Stray King, not an insult to Nova, by the way. To compare a Div 10 player with a Div 4 player. But Nova's just chilling, man. Patrolling some units around, getting some units out, it's fine. Who needs these things? OLADUSHEK is camping the relics even. He's got the monks, bringing those in. He is chilling, man. He's gonna snipe a villager out here, not going for the relic, but going for the gold for a TC. Might even snipe this TC Foundation, and he does. That's a nice find for 2 camels. Nova also going double monastery. Interesting. Okay. And this is not enough units to secure this side of the map. OLADUSHEK's looking pretty good, man. The sprawl of the base looks much stronger than last season. Like, I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. And he's getting the Gulams out. 69 Gulams. The nice start for OLADUSHEK. He's got 50 more in queue. And finally, Nova is beginning to move out with some army. 60 Halberdier are going down to the south to secure this relic, I suppose. They'll find a really good engagement against the camels, but let's go. All right, Gulam. It's now or never. If you're ever going to be good, you're going to be good right now. And they clear up the arbalests who aren't attacking them. They should do well against the Halb as well. They get in on the onagers. They get in on the trebs. Soon they will get in on the longbows. We've got armored chonkers coming up behind this. Gulam getting good value out of that pass-through damage here. And it's a pretty good start, I think, for the Hindustanis. Look at that pass-through damage. Overpowered. What a unit. Absolutely bonkers. I don't even really like the Hindustanis that much, generally. I don't know why I always get so hyped for the Gulams. But I do. There's something about these Gulams. I just like seeing them do well. Unironically, the Britons are maybe my favorite civ, certainly in my top 3. So I should be rooting for the Britons to do well here, but I don't know. There's something about the Gulams doing well that just makes me smile. Elephants do get cleared up. We are mixing in some champions, at least Nova is. But look at the map. The green on the map, it's pronounced even more because the actual, like, grass is green on the map, but the flood of green across the map from OLADUSHEK is quite a thing. He is losing. He's back down to 69 Gulam from 100. So he is losing the mass. And, well, the elephants are doing damage, but they should eventually get cleared up by... Well, by what? There's nothing on the field anymore for Nova, except for longbows. Siege gets sniped as soon as it comes out of the Siege workshops. And I think Nova's just dead. In fact, it is. And this is... Okay, so this is why... Yeah, so... Nova was apparently having heavy lag issues, which is why this was the original end of the set. For like a month, the set was over here. OLADUSHEK says sad to that news because he wants to play the games. But so this is where we were stopped at for about a month, but they managed to come back and finish the set yesterday. And Gulams get, I think, the first win I've ever seen them get in DM. Finally, the Gulams come good. It's been so long I've been waiting for the Gulams to win a game, but alright. It's not a Nova set without saying he lags. Well, hopefully he doesn't have the lag for the second half of the set. Now reverse sweep once he fixes his hotkeys. Yeah, exactly. He has needed a month to figure out his hotkeys, and he's going to come back strong here. So the Britons lose to the Hindustanis. These are rough outcomes for Nova. These are really rough outcomes for Nova. Much worse civs that OLADUSHEK wins with, but we're not done yet. So imagine this. We've gone that far, and now we pause, all right? The rest of the TDM season happens. We see the Koreans blossom into the civ that I always knew they could be. We see the Romans become, briefly, I don't know if they still are, but for a while they were the number 2 win rate civ in the tournament. So we journey back to our set. OLADUSHEK remains up 2-0, but now his draft is looking amazing. He's managed to get wins with probably his 2 worst civs. He still has pretty good civs available to him. Nova does actually have bad lag. Yeah. I'm not. I don't think. I'm not. I'm sure he was lagging. And it's very annoying to play with lag. I get it. He especially lags when he loses, says Maltar. Yeah. Don't we all? Don't we all lag more when we lose? It's a heck of a thing that seems to happen to everybody. We move on to Sunburn. So it should be Malians. And unironically, should it be the Italians for Nova? Yeah, Zardes, you gotta hype up your civilization a little bit stronger. You gotta come in as soon as they win, hit them with all caps. Hindus OP, easy win. Nerf Hindus, like you gotta lay it on thick. That's how we do it around here. Yeah, that's how we lay it on thick around here for our favorite civs. All right. Probably do Vietnamese get treadmill crane? I need to. This is my once per stream asking if Vietnamese get, or sorry, not Vietnamese in particular, but my once per stream asking if A Civ gets Treadmill Crane. They do. Okay. I thought they did. So probably Vietnamese is better than Italians here. Otter, thank you for the bit. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that might be my first bit I've ever received. Thank you. What do we think? Vietnamese or Italians? Or a surprise third option? For Nova. It should be Malians. It might end up being something weird for OLADUSHEK, but it should be Malians. I kind of... Well... Let me look at these other maps. Hyper Random, Accuray. Vietnamese probably better on Accuray, but maybe that's like a Dravidian or Teuton map. You probably never want to play Italians, right? No matter what. Maldar, thank you for the 2 bits. We're raking in the moolah this stream. I'll tell you what. Absolutely raking in that cash. We're increasing exponentially on bits received on the channel. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into the game. And okay, welcome in. Oh, OLADUSHEK. I'm about to chastise OLADUSHEK for changing his color, and then it's been like a month between games. He has no idea what color he started with. Welcome in, Game 3. It's been a long wait, but we are here on Sunburn. It is the Malians for OLADUSHEK, and it is the Italians for Nova. All right. We're opening Italian Pikemen against the Malian Rush as we try to get our castles up for the Genbos. Otter, thank you for the 3 bets. We got a cheer pyramid forming. Oh, Maldar skips and goes for the 6. Okay. I'm making so much money here, guys. This is how it feels to be rich. All it needed was a little bit of wood game and then someone picking Italians on Sunburn. We've got the full clump here for Nova. Otter matches with the 6 bits because he assumed Maldar was going to go to 4. And then hits me with the 50 and the get wrecked. Okay, Otter not pulling any punches. I'm casting both the Bit War in chat and the Sunburn War in front of me. I actually think the Bit War is a bit more competitive because the Italians are fully encased in their clump. Now, this is where I put the copium mask on. Theoretically, you always know I'm going to say something terribly full of copium when I start the sentence with theoretically. Theoretically, Genbos should counter everything the Malians can make outside of their siege, and then you've got bombard cannons for the Malian siege. So kind of there is an opportunity here. Apparently I have a bit goal that I'm now I'm closer than ever before to completing, as Maldar has cheered an entire 100 bits. Thank you, I appreciate that. I did not even know I had a bit goal, but we're very close now. Genbos putting in the work. They are taking some hits, it's got to be said. They're taking some hits from the bombard cannons. Rams are now coming in. I suppose it's just capped ram for the Malians, but there is nothing on the field to deal with these rams for Nova. Condotieros, champions are possible answers, but first castle goes down for Nova. And well, there's some expansion being attempted in the back for Nova, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Definitely needs that expansion, though, because the initial TC is going to go down very quickly here. Condos kind of just get bodied by the Cav. Genbos do pretty good against it, though. And OLADUSHEK selling his stone. He says, I've got enough castles for the most part. Second castle falls. Opening TC falls. Nova's going to be no TC gaming for a little bit here. Third castle is going to go down. OLADUSHEK sells the rest of the stone so we can make more champions, more cavalier, more rams. And I'm starting to think maybe the Italians just are not the best civ in the world for Sunburn. There's something in me that thinks maybe the Italians are not what you need on this map, or really any DM map, I don't think, in particular. We have seen some good Italian games, but we've seen some pretty bad ones as well. Final castle in the opening base for Nova goes down. Nova's now housed, is trying to get a base up, still maybe believes in the long-term advantages of the Italians compositionally, but I can't imagine it's going to matter from here as Nova's pushed deep into this corner. I like the little weird, like, half-circle sprawl that OLADUSHEK has gone for here. He has total control over the left half of the map. And probably has a solid 80% of the control over the right hand of the map as well. Surely the Genbos are strong enough to save us here. The Ram edition was so smart from OLADUSHEK. Malians, they don't have great Rams, but sometimes you just need a Ram, and this was one of those moments. Like, Nova was kind of stabilizing a bit until the Rams rolled in, and then suddenly he's having to scramble to get into infantry, which don't do super well here, and it was a really good addition. And, well, this may be the third game of the set, but it is a warm-up game, so Nova probably wanting to hang on a little longer to get the fingers warmed up for the remainder of the set. But I have to imagine a GG has to come in here pretty soon either way. Oh, that was Nova, the infamous trade game on Sunburn. What, I had forgotten that was Nova. That was with Spanish, right? So Nova's picked a couple interesting civs for Sunburn. Yeah, Otter desperately hoping to find a worse cook than the Ethiopians on Acre. But I will say, this isn't just because Otter has dumped multiple dollars, well, maybe not multiple dollars, but at least $1 probably by this point, into my channel in the last few minutes and bits. But I do think the Ethiopian cook on Acre was not that bad. We just needed a couple bombard cannons maybe in those games, and it would have come out a little bit better. You almost won. You still almost won at least one of those games with Ethiopians. The bombard cannon take is not it. I'm not saying like go full bombard cannon, but I think a couple of them would have been alright. Alright, the GG is called. OLADUSHEK goes up 3-0 over Nova. Looked quite good here, but again, much better civ in general and also for this map. Italians, is there any civ that the Italians are favored against realistically in Deathmatch on any map? I'm not sure. That is a loss. Malians win. Sunburn. So Nova is out of home maps as well for whatever that is worth. Probably works for someone that can do that style of a bunch of SO and a couple bombard cannons. Yeah, it's tough to micro, right? It makes things way more difficult, I think, for sure. But That's one of the reasons that the Ethiopians can struggle sometimes in DM as well, right? Because otherwise they're going like SO ARB, which is tough to do sometimes. It's always going to be tough micro with the Ethiopians, I guess is what I'm saying. All right. Let us see what game 4 will be played on. It's going to be hyper random for game number 4. Ooh. What are we thinking for hyper random? People love the Koreans on hyper random. Normally I don't, but if my only other options are Romans and Franks, it probably should be Koreans for OLADUSHEK. Nova. Probably should be Vietnamese, but I wouldn't hate any of these options for Nova. It depends on the map, right? Dravidians could be a good choice, but could also be kind of rough depending on the map. Teutons probably a bit better on more maps, but can still struggle on some. I think Vietnamese are the overall. They can do a little bit of everything, right? They can elephant. They can go mobility with like cav archers or rattan archers. They've got the bombard cannons. They have an okay dock as far as I know. So I feel like Vietnamese should be the choice here, but we shall see. And it should be Koreans for OLADUSHEK, but I'm not confident on that either. Let us find out. At least went out of fashion while Otter didn't have his finger to the pulse of the scene. Yeah, true. I mean, Ethiopians are bad Civ anyway, right? And they have some decent matchups, but Tatars in general struggled this tournament. It felt like, I don't know why exactly, but we saw the Tatars struggle a lot in this tournament. Even though it feels like they're a good Civ, it just seems like they've had a rough time of it. All right, let's jump into hyper random, see what we're working with, and see what the players are working with. And well, I'm finally not inside of OLADUSHEK's head. And I'm switching you back around to green. Welcome in game 4, OLADUSHEK versus Nova. We have a 2 TC start on hyper random. And we also have a 2 Robert Giscard start on hyper random. I have no idea what this guy does. He's got a lot of melee damage though. So that seems to be his thing. It's the Romans for OLADUSHEK, by the way. It is the Teutons for Nova. And
also cheer 100.
Thank you for the 100 bits, Otter. I appreciate that. Thank you. Do the Teutons Giscard get additional armor? Is that how this works? I don't really know how it works with heroes, if I'm being honest. 2 plus 3? No, they don't. I guess. So that's unfortunate. Weird. Why don't they? But they are slower? What is this? Oh, because of no. That's right. That's not a Civ difference. That's not having husbandry difference. Okay, all right. False alarm. I suddenly was like, wait a minute. Why are they slower but they don't have the armor? But I guess that kind of makes... Well, does it make sense though? They should just be cavalry for both things, right? Husbandry isn't just for stable units, right? It's mounted units. This is a mounted unit. Absolutely rigged out of Nova's mind. with not getting the extra armor on the Giscard. That's a re-moment if I've ever seen one. But anyway, there's a lot happening here. Double TC start, Teutons versus Romans. Teutons should be quite good against the Romans, to be fair. Romans want to go siege, infantry, maybe centurions. Teutons have much better infantry, counter-infantry. They've got better siege for the most part. They've got decent paladin. I actually don't know. Teuton Paladin might do okay against Centurions just like straight up, right? With the extra armor. Well, if they aren't dying quite so fast. Yeah, it's actually almost exactly the same stats between the two units. So I feel like theoretically, there I said that word again, that's not a good sign for Nova, but theoretically the Teutons should do alright here. OLADUSHEK much more aggro, as he has placed all of his buildings forward. Nova just kind of spreading out on the two sides of the map. Both players have done a pretty good job of keeping their TCs going so far. But Nova is adding more TCs much faster. Nova loves the TC line in the back of the base. And the only thing I'm a little concerned about here is Nova is out of gold. OLADUSHEK still has plenty to spare. Of course, military numbers 4-1 in Nova's favor. So OLADUSHEK's going to have to start spending some of that gold if he wants to maintain a presence on the map. Castle goes down purely... No, there is one Treb here, but that was mostly siege onagers taking that castle out. There's still a Robert Giscard on the map for Nova. He's chilling out. His three identical twin brothers, who are all named exactly the same as him, have died. So he's mourning them back in the base. Centurions roll in. They're going to snipe down a couple Trebs, but this is still a lot of siege on the map for Nova. And Halberdier trying to fight Teutonic Knights is kind of like getting in a play fight with your, like, 5-year-old nephew. And the nephew's going super hard, but it's just not. It's not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. Okay, I guess now it's like getting into a fight with like 20 of your 5-year-old nephews at the same time. Maybe that would be a little bit more difficult. I do not have as much experience in that. Teutonic Knights go down, but there are more where that came from. 120 villagers already for Nova, only 51 for OLADUSHEK. So the economy has expanded much more rapidly for Nova. And Romans without an eco are kind of hard to muster, right? The Centurion's a super strong unit, but they are expensive. If you can't make the Centurions anymore, what do the Romans make against the Teutons? I actually don't know. I would take another wood game. I would absolutely take another wood game if we wanted to see one more, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Nova is at 151 villagers. Almost 3 times the villager count of OLADUSHEK, but almost a little bit too many vills. Hopefully Nova taps out there and doesn't keep queuing more. Castles are falling on both sides. Players are both buying stone currently, trying to get some more castles up on the map. It's a huge map, right? Really, like, wide open map, and so many different places to do damage. So, more and more castles is more good. More castles, more good. Especially these long-range Teuton castles. Okay, we've got a solitary capped ram rolling in. I don't know if that might have been a misclick. I don't think... Well, maybe. Against, like, scorpions and stuff, maybe it's not that bad. SO, nuking down your own scorpions here against the actually massive halberdier value there. Forcing the friendly fire. What is this, Nova? Nova's going for the gold. There's still a castle there. That's too much. That's too much. We gotta back up from that for the time being. We've got a decent amount of onagers on the field now for OLADUSHEK. They're just onagers, not SO. But you know what? If the SO group up enough, those are good shots for OLADUSHEK. And in the end, all of the onagers are off the field, or at least off the screen. OLADUSHEK still with more map control, kind of, but it's much more stringy map control. The base is not nearly as developed as Nova's. Look at this for Nova. Amazing looking bases. Has coated the map in red, both in his chosen color and in the blood of his enemies. Down to 142 villas Nova. That's probably a little bit better, if anything. Oh, gets card. He's back in. He took a holiday. He's tapped himself back in. He's going through these Centurions. Massive value. Massive hero value from Nova. Just needed an extra TC and it became Mitchie. True. Finally back in our element here. Castles are falling. Siege workshops going down here for OLADUSHEK. This is a big, big clump of gold in the middle of the map. Maybe a little bit too far forward with the SO. I know you can take out castles with siege onagers if you have enough of them, but maybe it's getting a little bit inefficient for a Teuton player. Trying to convert. There's no way OLADUSHEK tried for that conversion. Trying to convert the Teutons with the full monastery tech tree at their disposal as well is not likely to happen. Oh, that's sad. Trying to yodel him over to the correct side and gets domed by an SO. Nova has added in the trebuchets, so does not need to dive the castles with the siege onagers any longer. It's going to be another castle down for OLADUSHEK in the middle of the map. And that map control OLADUSHEK had early on is not look. Whoa! Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The forward market? It's in the perfect position to run back the Nova special. Surely not, right? There's no way. That has to be a coincidence. But man, the trade line is really clear if we want to go for it. Not surprised Nova does it with an SO Civ. True, yeah, that was the other thing we noted at the beginning of the draft, right? Was that Nova really literally only had 2 SO Civs, but pretty much only had one that really wants to go heavy SO. So it does indeed make sense that Nova would look a little bit more in the throes of things here. Does leave the Trebs abandoned. Oh, wait a minute. This could be a huge swing for OLADUSHEK. 9 Centurions. Takes out 1, 2, 3, 4 trebuchets. They're going to turn on the SO. That's 1 SO down. That's going to be 2. It's going to be 3. Okay, really good job by Nova not to friendly fire here. Easily could have lost so many more. But good job not destroying your entire army yourself here. That being said, more Centurions riding in. Good attack grounds by Nova, but they do get in on the SO. Really good clear up for OLADUSHEK. More Trebs have arrived. But Onagers popping out of siege workshops. There is some... Oh, what is happening here? We've got a little jungle gold camp here for Nova, trying to barrack wall in these villagers away from OLADUSHEK's castle. I feel like this castle... Well, there's no bracer. Maybe it won't range all of these villagers. I'll have to check back. Still no trade cards. I'm very sad. He beat Tweppy 1v1 with Malay and Seamud. True! Yeah, you're right, he did. Nova's a beast, for sure. Yeah, the castle does indeed range these. I suppose as long as we're spamming out infantry, the castle won't pick on the villagers, but that feels inefficient in terms of what resources we're bringing in and what resources we're spending. More Centurions, man. Centurions are so strong. They are doing it.
Cheer 100, cheer
Maldar,
100.
thank you for the cheers. 200 bits more. He's not done yet. He's not out yet. We're over 50% of the way to whatever my bit goal is. Amazing. Most financially worthwhile stream I've ever done, I think. Already. Centurions are everywhere, man. They're chasing down the Paladin. They pushed back Nova's push. There's only 3 Trebs left, but the Trebs are taking out OLADUSHEK in the north. There are raids all over his base, and the initial advantage Nova gained is too much for OLADUSHEK to overcome, and Nova is on the board. Taking it on hyper random with the Teutons. Thank you for the 30 bets, Otter. He says that was my last ones. You win. I do think. Hold on. I do not too well, maybe not. Yeah, I think Maltar did win actually. I was gonna say overall maybe Otter still had the ups, but I think Maltar does take this scrimmage of the bit wars. Yeah, Maltar dropped some big ones in there. Maltar dropped the 100 and then dropped the 200. Dropping the fat stacks in the bit wars. All right, Nova on the board. Still plenty to fight for. The Romans lose to the Teutons. And we move on to Acre. What are we feeling here for Acre? Koreans should be the pick for OLADUSHEK. Versus what? Vietnamese or Dravidians? Vietnamese have the better unique unit, so it's very tempting to pick them on Acre. But elephant pushes have been pretty effective on Acre. So maybe Dravidians there, although probably against Koreans it should be Vietnamese, right? Yeah, Maltar is not true. Maltar flexing the Division 1 skill in Age of Empires and in the Bit Wars. It's hard to compete, man. I'm going to be nervous if Nova picks the Dravidians. As much as I love the Dravidians, I feel like this is not a good matchup for the Dravidians. And my poor Dravidians win rate is hanging in the balance. They did increase their win rate recently. They went up over Celts, I think, last time I looked. Not by much, but by a little bit. So this could be a big point for the Dravidians if they win another one, if they're picked. Maybe I'm talking myself into it. It'd be pretty hype. All right, let's get into the game. Let's see. I don't know whether to hope for the Dravidians or not. Let's jump in and find out. Okay. Welcome in. Game 5. Decider match. OLADUSHEK versus Nova. We are here on Acre. And OLADUSHEK is sending his Hussar forward. Both players have sent their scout forward before taking the other castle. It will not be punished because they both went to the same side. But it could have been. Nova could have stolen this castle from OLADUSHEK before that villager got over there. That was almost a close one. We've got the Koreans here for OLADUSHEK. It is my darling Dravidians for Nova. I think this is going to be a tough matchup for the Dravidians, but let's see. Nova actually petarding out of his walls. So he wants to make Whippy Boys. The Uwumi swordsmen. They don't see a ton of play, but honestly, they would absolutely destroy Halbs, I guess. So that's like vaguely viable. Nova overmade petards a little bit. It's fine. So it's going to be Elephant Archer, Halb, Siege Onager for the Dravidians. For the Koreans, it's going to be Halb, Rocket Cart, War Wagon. I feel like that should favor the Koreans, but we'll see. A cheeky little Treb here is going to start poking away at this castle on the hill. OLADUSHEK is out of this arena, by the way. Okay, there we go. The Trebuchet has spurred some of the War Wagons into action. Ooh, Arumi versus Fire Lancer could also be good. This is not Empire Wars, though, so I'm not sure if we'll see Fire Lancer from the Koreans. We are going to see turtle ships from the Koreans. OLADUSHEK, of course, trying to lock down the relic super early. We expected this. He's also blocking this river with his docks, I think. Can you get a... You definitely can't get through here, right? So maybe a bit of anti-navy there plays from OLADUSHEK. And you know what? The Trebs are kind of putting in work. The War Wagons firing away. They just simply cannot kill the Trebuchets fast enough. So OLADUSHEK's going to lose one of his initial 2 castles. He's kind of losing this one as well. All the War Wagons are soaking up their fire on the Trebuchets, so there's not much straight down the middle. Okay, it's fine hitting... I mean, I shouldn't have doubted. Nova with Dravidians, with the SO Civ, putting in the work here. Let's go. And yeah, OLADUSHEK can't get through here, so he's going to have to send the turtle ships up the other way, which is still okay, I suppose. He's getting relics. Okay, so OLADUSHEK's going to have all the relics. This map has a tendency to not go long enough for the relics to pay for themselves sometimes. But we'll see. OLADUSHEK's castle is denied. He's taken some pretty big shots from the Siege Onagers with his War Wagons. Taking a lot of big shots on the War Wagons, actually. Turtles? Soaking arrow fire from the elephants, but they are getting poked down by a couple Halb as well. Are they? I feel like they aren't taking very much damage from these Halbs. I guess they just have so much HP, it doesn't seem like a lot of damage. I don't know if that's worth the money spent. I don't know. Maybe. It is allowing OLADUSHEK to kind of take some good fights on the front. He's losing bombard cannons as they come out of the siege workshops, which is unfortunate. But he's sniping the siege onagers. Still losing castles, though. I love the sinking animation of the turtle ships. Unironically, the best animation in the game. Rocket carts should kill everything, but where are the rocket carts? There's a couple here. They are getting sniped out by the elephants, though. Still not too many elephants on the field left for Nova. The damage has been heavy, though. 1, 2, I think... Well, if you count this one, 3 castles are already down. This one's being made underneath Treb fire. OLADUSHEK 32 villagers, Nova 71. Dravidians OP, man, what can I say? Even the Koreans, who theoretically should have every answer they need for the Dravidians. Also, just like, Nova didn't make a single Arumi swordsman after petarding out of these walls. I don't think, so that was interesting, but... Dravidians are just too strong, man. 2 more castles go down. This castle will also go down. Maybe before it goes up. He's going to sell out to try and finish this castle. It finishes at 300 HP and it goes down. And I think OLADUSHEK's just dead. 30 villagers to 108. All the siege workshops got wiped off the front, so even if OLADUSHEK wants rocket carts, he's only got 1 more workshop in the back. He's lost all but 1 castle, so he can't really make... Oh, well, technically 2 castles. So he can't really make the war wagons anymore, which means the Arumi swordsman can come out in force. Unique unit versus unique unit, like we've never seen before. Look at the damage by the Arumi charged attack. Obliterating these smelly turtle ships. Absolutely incredible. They don't get in on the war wagons, unfortunately, but still massive Arumi value. OLADUSHEK does have all 5 relics, to be clear. Nova was thinking about a monastery up there, but obviously you're not going to beat OLADUSHEK to the relics. OLADUSHEK's on the pushback. I still feel like the eco is way too weak, right? But Nova kind of running out of SO. Maybe there's still a chance for the Koreans. They should still have the better compositions. OLADUSHEK still has full water control, if that means anything on this map. I'm not sure it does. Ooh, turtle ships actually do a good job against the SO. If OLADUSHEK wins this after ignoring rocket carts, that just means OLADUSHEK is a beast. That's all that means. He still should not be able to be clear. This should not be winnable from OLADUSHEK's position, but I'm getting a little worried. Okay, we've got another group of military coming across for Nova. I mean, the war wagon versus the elephants isn't really that bad for the elephants because the war wagons do nothing back to them. It's kind of like two people throwing paper and rock, paper, scissors over and over again. It just doesn't do anything. But there are some rocket carts coming out. I think he still is only on one. Oh no, he's got a second siege workshop now, so he's doubled his production of rocket carts. Navy is actually providing value for OLADUSHEK. He destroyed a castle down here, I think. I'm pretty sure there was a castle down here. He's picking off gold villagers. He's got the relics. He's sending the monk. It does not get value. But where is Nova going? Why are we chasing these turtle ships all the way up the map, bro? We've got a slow composition. We cannot afford to walk all the way up to the northern pond with our army. We gotta just push. Rocket carts are behind this, firing into the elephants. This is not the fight you want to take. We're finally starting to see the countering that we expected to see from the first minute of the game. Koreans should do very well here. You just have to make the right units, I suppose. The elephants diving through, they do snipe quite a few siege units, to be fair. Eco still ahead for Nova, but OLADUSHEK is catching up pretty quickly. He's up to 100 villagers now. I mean, even just like some light cav on this back wood line would go so hard for Nova. But we're focused on other things here. War wagons trying to dive for the SO. Turtle ships trying to come back for the SO as the elephants just dive through to snipe the bombard cannons. Turtle ships into the SO. Maybe not the best place for them to sit. But you know what? SO are going down. 1, 2, 3, 4 siege onagers fall between the turtle ships and the war wagons. Dravidians have better halb, for what that's worth. We're getting into a bit of a halb war, and Dravidians have really good skirmishers, which, to be fair, if OLADUSHEK is only going to make like 2 rocket carts at a time, Dravidian skirmishers will do quite well against everything else here. So it's actually not even the worst thing in the world. Another castle might go down for OLADUSHEK down here. Only 1 Treb, but there's nothing here for OLADUSHEK to defend. Albs, they do a lot of damage once they get in on the war wagons, but they don't really get in on the war wagons that well. Skirmishers coming in. The downside here of going skirmishers is it might incentivize OLADUSHEK to make more rocket carts, which is the only thing keeping OLADUSHEK out of this game is his resistance to making the rocket carts. But you know what? It's still going all right. Nova has the positioning again. He is not going to take out this castle, but he did force OLADUSHEK to use all of his remaining stone to repair it. I'm still nervous, man. This would be such a throw. This would be such a massive throw, and to do it with my Dravidians as well would be aggravating. But you know what? It's fine. We're siege onagering down a castle again. Nova really likes using siege onagers against castles. Not sure about that one. He's going to take out another siege workshop. That's good value. Just keep the siege workshop numbers down. It's fine. War wagons come in, but against the Dravidian skirms, not even that good. Build's going down as well. OLADUSHEK is close to running out of gold. He's still got some to take up here, though, and of course he has the relics. Nova says, who needs relics? I'm just going to take your main gold. Giving shades of a different set we saw recently, which I will not name, out of courtesy of my current viewers. Who's winning this? I have no idea. Nova's kind of overboomed now. 150 villagers is maybe more than we need, but still a great position for Nova. He's taking all of OLADUSHEK's gold, but the turtle ships are still kind of providing value. OLADUSHEK still has the civ advantage. Should. But maybe not. I mean, maybe it's not as bad anymore as I thought it would be heading into it. Still, turtle ships kind of getting value as units head across the middle of the map here. I think OLADUSHEK should be able to push this back. Nova needs trebs. Yeah, he needs to start doing like structural damage, right? It's one thing to take okay fights against OLADUSHEK's military, but now that OLADUSHEK's been allowed to actually boom into the game at a comparable eco level, we need to be doing final structural damage here, and one treb at a time is just not going to get it done. The skirmishers have never been more valuable in DM before. The skirmishers are doing so much work against these war wagons, but OLADUSHEK has pretty solid control over the middle of the map. These turtle ships have just been picking away at units as they cross. And I don't know, man. OLADUSHEK is even taking gold up here, up on Nova's side, so Nova might be out of gold pretty soon. OLADUSHEK is even sneaking gold down here. I feel like OLADUSHEK's actually going to come back and win this. Disgustingly. Should not have happened. Bluntly. But the turtle ships have done way more than I thought they would. Maybe turtle ships on this map is a new meta. They're very annoying, right? Because they have a unique capability, unlike, you know, players have tried demos, they've tried like cannon galleons. None of that has really felt super strong on this map, but the turtle ships have almost that unique Lu Xuan quality of they do pretty good damage to everything that comes across the water, right? They do pretty good damage with the cannonball against siege. They do pretty good damage against units with the arrows, like. And Nova says, what? Rice win? Rilsa win, says Nova. I don't know. I assume that's a nice? Oh, a strange looking nice? I don't quite know. But, oh, Relic win. Actually true. Relic win for OLADUSHEK. At this point, it actually would be. I can't believe Nova lost from this position with the Dravidians. I'm sick. I'm sick that the Dravidians lost this game. I cannot believe it. He wanted to write Civ win. He might have. It should be a Civ win. If just to be clear, this probably should be a Civ win for the Koreans, but Nova was in such a good spot, man. Man. But it's over now. OLADUSHEK has way too much map control. He's got still not quite the unit composition I was expecting, but it's good enough. And with the relics, Nova's out of gold. He's out of everything. The GG is called. OLADUSHEK looked really good this set. Nova looked really, really good this set. OLADUSHEK did. Sorry, excuse me. I'm reading Nova in chat. Nova looked good situationally. if you can give siege onagers to Nova, then Nova looks great. As soon as Nova runs out of siege onagers, things start to fall apart a little bit. Hey, Strike Muffin, how's it going? Maybe he'll do better next season. Yeah, tis the season to look forward to next season. Yeah, I don't know. What did Nova struggle with in this series? If we're trying to boil it down to things to improve on, what was actually the issue for Nova here? Like the opening build order on Shoals was bad, but I don't feel like it was that bad in any of these other games. Sunburn was just a straight up Civ loss for Nova. Did OLADUSHEK just like OLADUSHEK always had map control? He always had production pumping, right? So is it just like being a little bit better across the full spectrum here, and it culminates into a bit of a lopsided match? Yeah, I guess that's true, Otter. No demos on Shoals, no champs on Aftermath, bad civs for Acre and Sunburn. Like, although Dravidians isn't the worst civ on Sunburn, I don't think. It just wasn't. It's not the best. It's far from the best. I think not having a treadmill crane civ on Acre is kind of rough, but it worked out well for him here. Right? Like, it wasn't an issue of speed or anything for Nova in this particular one. You called it a bad civ. Yeah, it's a bad civ against the Koreans, I think. I've said all along, Dravidians have some really bad civ matchups, and that is certainly one of them. my poor children lose here. They should have won though. Considering this is one of the worst civ matchups I can think of against the Dravidians, they really should have won that game. Just gonna cement that. They really should have won that game. But yeah. So maybe just like small decision making for Nova, right? It's like not quite sure civ wise in the draft, maybe a little rough at times. Unit composition in some of these games, right? Sometimes that's all it takes is not making quite the correct unit, and OLADUSHEK doesn't give you much leeway. OLADUSHEK again looked much better than last season. Still made some interesting decisions, both civ-wise in the draft and unit compositionally. But OLADUSHEK is just so skilled that he makes it work even when he shouldn't. He's like, we see that a couple times. Like Kingstone is the same way, right? Really should not find the success they do based on their current knowledge or experience in DM, but they just make it work because they're such good players.